Hi there. So, we were talking about some of the mistakes. We've been flipping the classroom
For a couple years.
Yeah, for a couple years now. And, you know, we've made some mistakes.
Lots of mistakes.
But we wanted you to do a better job than we have. So, we want to give you 5 things.
5 reasons to flip your classroom.
And 5 tips
mistakes.
for success.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
5 tips.
Well, it's mistakes that you want to make.
Yeah, mistakes you don't want to make, tips that you want to try.
Right.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the 5 reasons to flip your classroom.
All right.
Follow us. All right, reason number 1 why you want to flip your classroom. It increases student achievement, engagement, and test scores. Okay, so if you look right here, this was a study done at Vanderbilt University, and the student engagement that they saw before flipped was about 45%, and with using the flipped classroom, it went up to 85%.
So students were more apt to learn because they enjoyed it more.
They were actively engaged in the class period. And then also the passing percent of the class in a traditional classroom was about 41%, and the flipped study showed that it was 74% passing. So you want to read that quote?
This is my favorite quote. This dramatic increase in student learning supports the use of the flipped classroom model. That's from Vanderbilt University study. Okay.
Okay, so this other chart also shows us some the difference between flipped and traditional, with students with a C or better, 74% for flipped and 48% for traditional. So that just confirms again the achievement rate of the flipped classroom.
It's not perfect,
No.
but it's another tool that you can use to get your student scores higher.
Right. Good. Okay. What's number 2?
Number 2, while all students benefit, at-risk students benefit the most.
What do you mean?
Well, everybody's going to be helped. Everybody's going to be helped by a flipped classroom approach, but the ones that we really want to do well are at-risk students, students that that otherwise may not have the opportunities to learn. So,
Like our
inclusion kids,
inclusion class?
maybe
The
ELL kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you can name it. There's a lot, and we've had some personal students that have come up and said that they learn better this way.
They can kind of go at their own pace.
They really like that, and they can do it. They can review it over and over again, and we'll talk more about that later.
Okay.
So I guess to not just take our word for it, this is a study from a high school. It was math, but it certainly translates to science. And in 2012, they just did traditional classroom. And those are the scores in orange. And this is honors students. Honors students, their passing rate went from 71% to 83%. And in mastery level, in other words, 90% or better, they went from 14 to 35. So one of the things also about this is it takes those students who were already good students much higher level. So that's one thing.
But look what it does over here to the
These are regulars. This is just the regulars. They had even a bigger increase in passing from 35 to 55%, and even their mastery level was dramatically increased from 4 to 7%. So, good? All right, well, let's go to the next reason.
So, number 3 reason to flip your classroom.
Number 3.
More time is spent in the classroom working on the higher levels of Bloom's with activities, hands-on activities, group work.
Yeah, because face it, the videos you do is pretty much going to be the knowledge level, understand level stuff. The stuff that they don't necessarily need you for. They need you for the higher level, the critical thinking levels of Bloom's. So you're going to be there for them during that time, so to help them to get to those higher levels of Bloom's.
Okay, number 4
Number
reason
4.
to flip your classroom. More class time is available to help those struggling students. So the students that get it already, they can move on and go to the other activity. And you're there, you have more time to help the struggling students that maybe did watch the video but they just don't get it yet. You're there to help them kind of understand it better and explain a little bit more.
So it gives you more time if you've got some struggling students to spend with just that group, while the other ones don't have to be just stuck there, just sitting there. Okay, sounds good.
And then the number 5 reason to flip
Fifth
your
reason to
classroom.
flip is
Ownership of student learning shifts from the teacher to the student. All the learning is put back on the student, and they're responsible for doing all of their own, gathering all their own knowledge from your videos.
You know, and this is really important because bottom line, when the student takes responsibility for their own learning, they're going to learn better, and really that's where the responsibility relies anyway. We can't do anything until they take that ownership.
Right. Okay, so those were our 5 reasons
Yay!
for flip. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here. Now let's go and just share with you some tips, helpful hints that you could use
Okay, here we go.
when you're trying to flip. Are you going to flip?
No, I can't flip. You know I can't flip.
Okay, we've tried that before.
Yeah, we
right?
have. Yeah, we'll find out that later too. Okay, so 5 tips for success.
Number 1, you have to set up clear expectations before you start flipping.
If you just try, and we did this,
Yeah, we
if
did
you
this.
just try to flip without setting up expectations,
It doesn't
it's going to
work.
fail.
Yeah.
Basically, the students are going to be baffled, you're going to be baffled, and you have to set up, just like any other class, you have to set up procedures on what to do, and they have to know it ahead of time.
Yeah, we learned this the hard way, so
Please
learn
don't
from
learn the
our
way we did.
mistakes. Okay? Number 2, don't try to flip all your lessons.
Okay, it does take, you have to really plan out what you're going to do, and don't try to do it all at once. Take 2 or 3 you think are going to be good lessons for this, and you know what, not everything is a good flip lesson.
They don't.
I mean,
Not
some
every
things,
single lesson.
some concepts don't work for the flip classroom.
Right.
So don't expect it to do everything, because it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Okay.
Okay?
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay, this kind of goes back to setting clear expectations. You have to make sure that you teach the students how to learn from the videos they're watching and how to take effective notes. And we ran into this problem a lot, kind of a lot with taking effective notes. So you're going to have to walk your students through this before you introduce, as you introduce flip to them, so that they can actually understand what they're supposed to be writing down and how to use those notes to get the information they need.
And don't assume. We thought our students knew how to take notes. We honestly did. And we were totally wrong. They
Yeah.
do not know how to take effective notes. And we have some strategies to help that out that
Yeah.
we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, number 4.
Don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, it does take some time, and there's a lot of advantages to doing your own video. But it's also a lot more work, and if you're not comfortable with it, there's a lot of great videos out there already. Some from within our district, and also a lot just on the web, on YouTube and various channels. And we'll give you a list of some really great sites where you can just use other teachers' videos. But the important thing, you need to do that, you need to use the videos when they're at home. So this is not something you're going to show in class.
Right, and remember, sharing is caring.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
All right, and then tip number 5 for flipping, you want to make sure you keep your video short. 10 minutes or less, that would be the max, 10 minutes. You don't want to dramatically increase the student's workload while they're watching the video, and after 10 minutes, it kind of is just like...
I mean, sorry, what'd you say?
Yeah.
I kind of zoned out there.
Yeah.
I just wasn't paying attention. So
Right.
10 minutes is pretty much the maximum for our students that are, I think, the attention
Yeah.
span is.
And even, like, I think we only have 1 or 2 that maybe push in 10 minutes. We try to keep it...
It's hard
6
sometimes.
or 7.
Sometimes you have to divide concepts up
Yeah.
to do it that way. So, all right.
So that was just a quick little overview of some reasons why you should think about flipping and some good tips that you could use if you do start to flip.
So now you got 5 reasons to flip and 5 things to avoid. Woo! Bye.